Anushya.
Okay, ma'am.
I think the Dr. Shibaji, they're all way, at least the panelists,
I will let you know, ma'am. Yeah,
voting for Dr. Monica.
sure.
Somebody had entered the waiting room.
Check. Check.
Om Amrita. Om Amriteshwaraya Namaha. Good afternoon and welcome to the second webinar in the quarterly webinar series, Voices of Persons with Disabilities, hosted by the UNESCO Chair on Assistive Technologies in Education at Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham. Today's webinar looks at inclusive education in practice to hear from leaders on how to make classrooms truly accessible. Before we move forward, let us begin with a short video on Amma's initiatives in inclusion and empowerment, followed by the launch of Amrita's UNESCO Chair on Assistive Technologies in Education.
ध्यायामो धवलावगुण्ठनवती तेजोमयीं नैष्टिकीं स्निग्धां पाङ्गविलोकिनीं भगवतीं मन्दस्मितश्रीमुखीम् वात्सल्यामृतवर्षिणी सुमधुरं सङ्कीर्तनालापिनी श्यामाङ्गी मधुसिक्तसूक्तिम् अमृतानन्दात्मिका ईश्वरी अमृतानन्दात्मिकामीश्वरी अमृतानन्दात्मिका ईश्वरी.
For Amma, compassion is removing barriers so everyone can learn and communicate. Amma's international network builds inclusion, white canes in Africa for people who are blind, free cataract surgeries, and special schools for children with intellectual disabilities and for the deaf. Under Amma's compassionate care, double hand transplants and robotic gait rehabilitation at Amrita hospitals restore movement. In Amrita University research labs, engineers and persons with disabilities co-create assistive technologies that make digital learning accessible. Amma, as chair of C20 under G20 India, informed policy on assistive technologies supporting the Sustainable Development Goals. Amma's work from inclusion to empowerment has led to Amrita's third UNESCO Chair on Assistive Technologies in Education.
India's Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016 gives us a strong policy foundation for inclusive education. Today's panel brings together people doing this work every day. Amrita is working on many accessible technologies, including autism screening in rural India, assistive technology for speech disorders, signing avatar, and audio description technology for the blind. The UNESCO chair also promotes students, educational institutions, and startups who work in the assistive technologies space. Let me now introduce the moderator of this event, Dr. Prema Nedungadi. Dr. Prema Nedungadi is the Associate Dean of the School of Computing and also the UNESCO Chairholder on Assistive Technologies in Education at Amrita University, Amrita Vishwavidyapitham. Dr. Nedungadi is a founding director at Amrita Create, Amrita Center for Research in Analytics and Technologies for Education, the award-winning Educational Technology for Societal Benefit initiative of Amrita. She has led award-winning projects and is in the Stanford's top 2% scientists. And now I'm pleased to introduce our panelists for today's discussion.
Our first panelist is Ms. Monica Punjabi, Director of the Indore Deaf Bilingual Academy.
Our first panelist is Ms. Monica Punjabi, Director of the Indore Deaf Bilingual Academy, a 50-year school founded for deaf students by her parents. A recognized professional ISL expert, she is also president of the Indian Sign Language Interpreters Association. Under her leadership, IDBA launched India's first ever online sign language classes in 2020. She serves on expert committees for the Rehabilitation Council of India and works with NCERT and NIOS on the standardization and translation of educational materials into ISL, directly influencing national policy on deaf education. We are delighted to have you with us today, Ms. Punjabi. Welcome to the panel. Our next panelist is Mr. Salman Ali Qazi, Head of Department of Special Education at Christ Church College, Lucknow. Mr. Qazi gradually lost his vision during his teenage years due to retinitis pigmentosa. He went on to complete his BA, LLB, MA, and Bachelor of Education in Special Education, earning a gold medal along the way. Since joining Christ Church College in 2014, he has been dedicated to advancing inclusive education with a particular focus on integrating assistive technologies to empower students with visual disabilities. Work most notably reflected in the success of his student Sarah Moin, a deaf-blind student who secured 98.75% in her Class 12 ICSE examinations. He has also contributed actively to national level events and initiatives promoting inclusive education. We are delighted to have you with us today, Mr. Qazi. Welcome to the panel. Our next panelist is Dr. Sibaji Panda, founder and director of Happy Hands School for the Deaf, Odisha. Dr. Panda lost his hearing at the age of 10 and experienced firsthand the difficulties of studying in an education system not equipped for a deaf child. That experience led him to become one of the first people in India to document Indian Sign Language and a founding member of the Indian Sign Language Interpreters Association. He later spent 10 years as a senior lecturer in deaf studies and sign language at the University of Central Lancashire, UK, before returning to his home state of Odisha to found Happy Hands School, a bilingual school where Indian Sign Language is central to learning and deaf educators serve as teachers and role models. We are delighted to have you with us today, Dr. Panda. Welcome to the panel. Our final panelist for today is Ms. Neha Trivedi, founder of the Inclusion and Accessibility Consultancy Spandan. While working at the Xavier's Resource Center for the Visually Challenged at her alma mater, St. Xavier's College in Mumbai, Ms. Neha noticed a wide gap between the need for and the supply of services for persons with disabilities. That observation led her to found Spandan in 2022, which provides inclusion and accessibility solutions for higher education institutes and corporations. She has contributed to key inclusive legislative changes in India, including making STEM education accessible for persons who are blind and steering the deployment of accessible ATMs and inclusive banking rules. She is the recipient of the 16th NCPEDP Emphasis Universal Design Awards 2025 and has authored numerous publications on inclusion and accessibility. We are delighted to have you with us today, Ms. Trivedi. Welcome to the panel. Now, to frame today's discussion, it is my privilege to invite Dr. Prema Nedungadi to share the vision, goals, and intended outcomes and moderate the panel. Dr. Nedungadi.
Om Amriteshwari Namaha. Welcome, everybody. Our Chancellor Amma has always asked us to serve those who are left out and to act for their benefit. At Amrita, that spirit has shaped our work in education, technology, service. And through this UNESCO chair, we carry that question into education. How can every learner participate fully? And so today I am delighted to have leaders who make inclusion real every day through deaf-led, bilingual education, mainstream special education, accessibility consulting, student experience. And their work shows us and reminds us that inclusion is tested every day, whether a student can understand the lesson or use the learning material, communicate, participate, be heard. And so we want to turn the ideas into some outcomes. And that would be that at a practice level understanding of what inclusive education requires in daily classroom life. Insight into how disability-led and mainstream models each contribute to inclusion and what they can learn from each other. Also, we will hear direct first-hand account of what access and inclusion feels like from a student's perspective. So I will be moving on one by one to the four panelists with a couple of questions or so each. And then after that, we will also open it up for the audience so they can put it in the chat and raise their hands. So we'll start with Monica Punjabi ji. Welcome, ma'am. You have been a leader in multiple ways, and language is not just a way to communicate. Basically, for a child, I think what you've shown is whether learning is possible at all. And so what we want to hear from you first is, what is the biggest positive change that you have seen, whether it's in technology, policy, teaching practice, attitudes? Your school, Indore Deaf Bilingual Academy, was among the first to take ISL education in 2020 online. And so what changes have you seen in the use of ISL over the past 6 years?
Sure. Thank you so much, ma'am. Am I audible enough, ma'am?
Yes.
Firstly, I would like to greet everyone here and thank you so much for having me on this panel. Yes, as you said, bilingual education, and first to start the Indian Sign Language course online because COVID taught all of us so many things. So actually we started to teach our students, our deaf students online first, because I'll just come on the reason. Ours is the bilingual school. That is, we use Indian Sign Language as the foundational language to teach all other subjects and also Hindi and English to the deaf students in our school. So it's the first bilingual school of the country. Its name is Indore Deaf Bilingual Academy, run by Mook Badhir Sangathan. The uniqueness or the specialty of this school is that the founders, both the founders, Dr. Usha Punjabi and Rajkumar Punjabi ji, they themselves are deaf. So in 1974, like 52 years back, they founded this school. And because they are themselves deaf, they always had the need of sign language in their own personal lives also. And so they were always open to Indian Sign Language, whether it was not a fashion or it was not acceptable that time, because Indian Sign Language had no identity in 1974 and till 80s, I would say, and also in 90s. It is now that in few years back, as government has taken the initiative and government has understood the importance of Indian Sign Language. So now people are talking about Indian Sign Language. Long back, it was not the same. But because the founders are themselves deaf, they always knew the importance of Indian Sign Language and a shared language and the power of a shared language in classroom between teachers and students. So actually, we in 2020 were stuck because all of our students were back home, locked at their places, and how will our teachers teach now? But thankfully, as all the teachers knew sign language and we already used to teach through sign language, so this Zoom and video call came as a option that why not we teach our students through sign language through video calls. And that is why then we thought of what about our Indian Sign Language department? There were people coming in to learn sign language since years, since 2004. We have this RCI recognized center in Indore. So our diploma students, our regular trainees, they also were suffering. So we started teaching them through Zoom platform and online video call platforms. And then we got a thought and we got calls from not only Indian states, but internationally also that they want to learn Indian Sign Language. And overseas also, we had the batches for foreign students and early in the morning or late in the night. And that is how we started teaching Indian Sign Language online to the people interested who are interested to learn sign language. You are not audible, ma'am. Ma'am, you are not audible. Yeah.
You also worked a lot with
Yeah.
NCRT and NIOS on educational materials in ISL. And having worked with that, what do you feel is the urgent gap so that we can make all resources from NCRT and NIOS truly accessible?
Yes. I
Also,
would really thank the initiative that government. Sorry. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
also, if you can connect the technology requirements for ISL curriculum and adoption.
Sure, ma'am. I really want to thank NCRT and the initiative that NIOS, NCRT, and also Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini and such more agencies to take up to translate the content material, educational material, the syllabus into Indian Sign Language. So I really praise all of them. So that is one part that we are already doing and we are shining in that. A lot of lessons, curriculum, syllabus is being translated in Indian Sign Language. I would just request a proper follow-up and a check on quality of translation also. Because still we are doing the translation work. When we teach deaf students, their approach has to be a bit different. So in classroom, when we teach, because for them, even Hindi is a foreign language, even Tamil is a foreign language, not only English, but all the verbal languages are foreign languages for a deaf child. So when we approach and teach language to them, it is a very different approach that India has to still work on. We still have the same curriculum that is meant and designed for the hearing people, hearing students, and not for the deaf children. So I look forward that even the curriculum and syllabus is thought and designed in a way that it is to be taught to the deaf children who are language deprived of verbal languages. So I don't know if I'm making sense, because what we think is only English is the foreign language for us, but no, for them, any spoken language needs a different approach to teach. And deaf teachers play a very, very crucial role, ma'am, here, because deaf teachers have their native sign language. They have sign language as the foundational and because what deaf can sign, the concept, a hearing person cannot do that the same way. So either our hearing special educators, the non-deaf teachers need to have that skill, consistent, beautiful, effortless skills of Indian Sign Language so that they can do a good job. Otherwise, deaf teachers should be trained in such a way that they are able to teach all the subjects to the deaf children. So the changes that I see in every school where they were not using Indian Sign Language, or still if the teachers are struggling learning sign language in any of the reason, these materials that NCRT, ISLRTC, NIOS, and SSSBV, these organizations that are providing such translated materials are benefiting all the schools where the teachers are still not capable to do that work. But still, I find that these available resources, freely available resources, are not being used in all the schools. So if we can have a check on that, if the schools are really using those videos to the classrooms, because still there are schools they are not using, they are not aware of these platforms.
Yes, you bring up very important points. I think ISLRTC and NCRT have done some concept level videos specifically for this. And
Yes, ma'am.
we have found when working with some deaf schools that they find they are not getting qualified deaf teachers who know the subject, So the capacity building as a country to build deaf teachers at a higher level, at the high school
Yes,
level, or even at the university level, very important
Yes,
point.
we can, we can identify those skilled deaf teachers and whatever they are lacking in, if we can teach them, if we can have a diploma or a certificate level program for them to learn the subject content, then they'll be wonderful teachers, ma'am, because they've already got the skills to teach. But if subject knowledge is lacking, that is also again because of our mistakes, schools' mistakes, because we were not able to teach them at par. That is why they are not good at the curriculum content, because the schools have somehow failed. We the gurus and we the teachers are not able to give them proper knowledge when they need it in their school time, and now we find them incapable to teach subjects. But that's not their fault. So if we can identify such good teachers who are interested to become teachers for the deaf in future, now at least a preparatory program can make them prepare for that. That is what I think, ma'am.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I just want to share that this year we started a PhD program for applied sign language studies. And Dr. Ulrike
Okay, great.
is the one who is, driving it,
Yes, ma'am.
is what I think. And the first 2 deaf admissions are happening. So if you have good,
Wonderful.
good
That's a great news.
very good students,
Sure,
deaf
ma'am.
students, if you have, they're welcome to apply in January or the following years.
Definitely. I'll definitely spread the word, ma'am. And so it's a wonderful thing. And if it is being guided by Dr. Ulrike's session, that means it is definitely on the right path, ma'am.
Correct. Okay. Thank you so
Thank you, ma'am.
much. Now I'll move
you
to
so
the
much, ma'am.
next panelist,
Sure,
Mr.
ma'am.
Salman Ali Kazi. So this is where we bring in our lived experiences that can give us knowledge that many of us cannot learn from a textbook. And also that every student's experience is so different. So Salmanji, you have helped students with disabilities learn in mainstream classrooms. What makes the biggest difference in your opinion and experience? How has your
Ma'am, am I
experience?
audible?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, please repeat once again.
Okay. We wanted to understand how your own experience of visual disability shaped the way you teach. How do you make sure you understand students' individual needs? And if
Yeah.
another school wanted to follow your approach, what should they do? What should they get right?
Yeah. First of all, a very big thanks to all the organizers for giving me this opportunity. First of all, ma'am, challenges make us strong and help us to give our best. This actually what I've learned from my life, and the same I'm trying to convey to my students here at Christ Church College. Basically, being a visually impaired and then getting an opportunity to teach these children, it's really a very nice feeling. And what helps me actually in this is because I have experienced through when I was a young boy studying in school, and at that time I was low vision. So I had the experience of low vision. Then gradually, due to retinitis pigmentosa, I lost my vision. So I had the experience of a low vision student, or an experience of a blind. So it really helps me to understand the specific needs of these children. And I just can just very well imagine and just understand what they are actually looking for. Because at that time when I was studying, the technology was not so advanced. But nowadays, really, what I feel and I say to my students, ki most of the children and the people, for them, actually, this technology makes things easy. But for these special children, it makes things possible. And this actually happened with me at Christchurch College with Sarah Moyne, a deaf-blind child securing 98.75%. And this was due to the help of the technology, the advancement in the technology, and the use of this latest technology, which is being introduced at Christchurch and at many places nowadays. So the past experiences which I have faced so far have really helped me to understand the individual needs of each and every special child. And when we understand, because see, disability is nothing what I have experienced so far. It is the environment actually which is responsible for making any child able or disabled. If we provide an environment which is as per their needs, then I'm sure any child, whether able or disabled, I don't consider them able or disabled, because basically environment is responsible for that. So any child can excel. Only thing is we have to provide an accessible environment to them. What they need, we have to just look into that. And then if we are able to provide an environment which caters to their needs, then definitely students like Sarah Moyne can excel. The only thing which is lacking is unaccessible environment actually.
Wonderful. So if you could think of some technology that does not exist or is not so well done today, what would you want it to be to help you or your students?
Yeah. There has been a lot of advancement in technology, and we are using that at Christchurch also. Right from class 5 onwards, we are having e-examination system. But one thing which I was really looking for, and that was definitely for Sarah Moyne in the case of a deaf-blind child. She was trained in Orbit, refreshable braille display, laptops. But still the main communication which is hindering and which is troubling me for her future is communication actually, because her speech is not clear. She has the talent, she has the intellect, and she is aspiring to be a professor, has interest in that, very good in studies. But how, when she goes to higher education and just becomes a professor, the communication is the biggest hurdle. For that, if there is any technology which can just like AI is there and text to speech, everything is there, but the clarity which is not there in her speech, if we had such a powerful device which can just understand what she's speaking and then translate into audio or a speech output, so that she can communicate with the class if she gets a chance to be a professor somewhere in the university. So if we can develop such a device, a communication device for the deaf blind, so it will be of great help. So at times I just think and just if it is possible to get this device for her, it will really, whatever hard work she has done right from the nursery to at this level, and she has the intellect, she has the potential. The only thing is this communication, how to communicate with the audience. So if this is catered to, it will be of great help not only to Sarah, but I'm maybe to the entire deaf blind community.
That is an amazing example that you have given. And we will see if through our contacts or jointly with others, we can find something.
Yes, ma'am, because she can just communicate. She uses WhatsApp, Instagram, everything. Text is fine for her. But suppose if when she pursues a career in teaching, the communication is very important for that actually. So if any device can just, that text can be converted into that normal speech live, or her voice can be just translated into a normal voice. So it will be of great help.
Okay. We will be so happy to work
Yes.
with you separately on this. And
Yes.
now we've been talking about students, and we have Sarah Moin, one of Salmanji's students. As Sir said, she's deaf-blind and achieved such a high percentage in her class 12 exams. Sarah, we are very happy to have you with us, and we would like to hear from you directly about your education access, what matters to you. We also want to understand what one assistive technology that changed your educational experience the most.
Technology which changed. Answer. Yes. She's saying, ma'am, Orbit Reader was of great help, that refreshable braille display device, which really changed her education. And it was a game changer for her actually, because this only enabled her to use the laptop, to use the internet, to connect with the entire world around. And that really was a game changer, that refreshable braille device, she's saying.
Okay. Wonderful. And what is, in her opinion, what should change in the education system for students with multiple disabilities?
Yes. Tell me. I think and I believe that improvement in the STEM subject, she wants that multiple disabled students should be promoted to study STEM subjects. This is the thing she's saying, it should be, these students should get an opportunity to study STEM subjects also.
What subject?
STEM, STEM, that science, maths.
Yes, yes.
There are several visual aspects. So she wants facilities for that. These children also should be into science and maths. Like there are so many symbols. Okay. And diagrams and all these things. So multiple disabled children, there should be some technology which can help these multiple disabled children to get access to all these things. She thinks that these facilities for the multiple disabled are at a very elementary level at present. Till 10th grade, it is okay. But after 10, especially it needs improvement. Okay. Yes, ma'am, she's done.
Okay, I was writing that down. That is such valuable input from you. And we talked about all your education and achievements. What do you enjoy doing? What do you hope to do in the future?
I love story, fantasy, adventure, fiction, and love to talk, socialize, and play games. She has a lot of interest in cricket and chess. She likes traveling, learning new things.
Many things more.
and many things more.
So happy and proud to hear such a upcoming leader.
Okay, good. Yes. Okay. What you want to
You want to
come?
become a professor.
She wants to be a
You want to
professor,
be a professor.
a university professor in English,
English, yes,
Amazing.
literature.
English literature.
Wonderful.
Director. You director.
And writer also. She writes stories also. Her stories have been published in a school magazine. Okay. Yes, ma'am, done.
Thank you. I'm sure all of us are impressed and with both of you, both the teacher and the student.
Thank you
And
so much.
thank you. So now we move to Dr. Shivaji Panda. Is Shivaji Panda there? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Could you please spotlight him? His video is also off.
And I think he just got out of the meeting due to some network issue. Can we go
Okay.
to Spanish?
Okay. So in that case, we can go to Neha ji, and if you can try to work. Okay, Dr. Shivaji is.
He's here, ma'am. Yeah.
Oh, he says his camera is disabled by the host.
It's enabled, ma'am. No, it's enabled. Well, sir, can you?
Can you do something, Amal? Oh, yes. Please spotlight him. Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, Dr. Shivaji Panda. Welcome again. I think we all know Dr. Shivaji Panda. He's a deaf leader, made a big difference in India. He has a school where students are boarded and they get their lessons, and it's completely free for all the students. So it's really amazing work that Dr. Shivaji Panda is doing. Inclusion is not always about helping someone fit into an existing system. And sometimes we also need to ask whether the system itself should change. So, Dr. Shivaji, when you began your work, ISL was, I think, very little known. It was not standardized either. And there was not much knowledge about it. And where do you think, compared to that, ISL stands today? And also, what is still holding it back from wider recognition in both education and in society?
Ma'am, 1 minute. Interpreter 16.
I think Meera has joined. Meera?
Yeah, ma'am. I'm here.
Okay, should I repeat the question or
Like he will be interpreting, I'll be voicing.
okay.
Sita, you can interpret and I'll voice. Thank you all. Thank you for welcoming me. Thank you. Yeah, I'm Prema ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me. And I have been in this webinar, like I have been in this program previously, Amma's programs. Yeah, you have asked one question. Rita, can you ask him to repeat? Rita? Rita, can you hear me? Can you please ask him to repeat? Let me pin him because I'm not able to see. Okay. There is a system, like we need a system and we need to change the system. Yeah, the question you have asked, I'll be answering. The important thing is like, please remember everyone that something is needed to match. Like everybody is having a responsibility. Inclusion, yeah, we were talking about the word inclusion. Yeah, it is correct. And past so many years, we are talking about the topic. And the deaf people are there. We are asking them to include in the society, but the system has not changed. We need to try to change the system. And it has not been changed. Every time the deaf people are 2020, 2008, from past these many years, I have been seeing the system is really big and it need to be changed. So it has not changed. Please, everybody, you all decide that, yeah, the system which we have, it has to be changed, and you all have the responsibility to do the institutions. Everyone are responsible. So deaf people are asking me, what is the change and how can we include in the society like that? And you are asking them to come and join. Come, we'll be having an inclusive system, but that is not happening. So I'm not happy for that. You must, there should be a balance. Yeah. Deaf people, the accessibility which we have to give them, the system, everything has to have a matching. Yeah. Maybe it will be a slow process, it will take some time, but the system has to change and they should have a match. You all are hearing. We have a hearing world. Teachers are there and everybody have their own system. And the deaf community is trying really hard. But the teachers and the school system is not trying hard to include them in this culture and in this society. So if the deaf people are trying hard, what is the use of that? Inclusion means only like inclusion word is different. Including means like including in them into our society. All are like we want to sign, we want to communicate with them. All of them have to. You all have to come under an umbrella. Yeah, studying, enjoying, communicating, everything is included. So deaf people don't have the inclusion and accessibility. So everybody like we are trying to change the system and we are forcing, we are telling them, implying that, but no use. Inclusion, what is the meaning of inclusion? Like we are asking the deaf hearing people, like we are asking them to join us. No, we all have to go and we all are going into a system. That's what we need. We don't ask them to come and join us. We have to make an inclusion system that we and they are equally included in that system. Everybody should be in a system. True inclusion. The system has to change and it will be a true inclusion. Yeah, Prema ma'am's question. Second question. 25 years, past 25 years, like I'm working. I've seen, yes, many positive changes are there. Yeah, ISL all around the people, like some of them are using and people are aware of what is ISL. So some positive changes are there. Now I can see many many different languages are there, and some languages are developing. ISL, like I am like watching ISL, the ISL which like there is ISL some places the in India it is not developing. ISL grammar, and I am watching like government is also trying to support, but in schools also we don't have accessibility in ISL language. But the problem is not being solved. It is a slow process, it's correct, but the accessibility in education is very important for the students. But this is not happening. These many years, the technology has developed, AI is there, everything is developing, but time is very short. And I have felt that we need to have a fast process that reading, writing, good education. I need, like, I'm really thinking about it and it will be positive changes happening. Yeah, it should be a fast process also. All of them are like waiting for the achievements and they are waiting for achieve like their inclusion in the society, and they are waiting for the good education, equal lifestyle. They need a proud life. I hope so it will come soon. Ma'am, I think
Happy Hands is largely deaf-led. And many of the schools that we see are not deaf-led, actually. Many of them may not even have deaf teachers. So I think there are two questions. One is, what is the difference when it's a deaf-led school? And the second is, even though the government is now saying that there should be one deaf teacher, etc., I think some schools are not able to find talented or the qualified teachers. So the capacity building.
yeah, people are hearing teachers are there. They ignore, like the deaf students need to be learned. So they need to have an equal education. The teachers has to give equal support to the SHI candidate students. So the teachers should understand. the SHA candidates and the students have their own languages. So it will be very easy that they are really interested to learn many new things. Yeah, I want to say, like, it is a need that bilingual culture, bilingual education should be there, and the deaf teacher also should come and teach the students. So if the bilingual education is there, if the schools are teaching the deaf students through vocal language orally, so what is the use if the Hindi, like, they are choosing Hindi language and they are having a hearing culture, then how the deaf students can understand? So deaf people will be ignored. They are students. We need to have equal support. It should be a positive culture, and the class culture should have a bilingual culture, and the deaf students also has to have a equal support like the hearing students. So communication, teaching, uh, the hearing students also will be included, and the deaf students also will be included in this. It will be really good. Hearing teachers should work together. Second question which Prema ma'am asked, schools, from the past years I have been seeing that the schools, 15 teachers are there. Here in Helping Hands we have 15 teachers. They are working here. We used to teach them, we used to train them how to uh, teach the students all the thing we used to teach them. And we'll be asking them, if you have any negative thoughts about the students, the community, used to tell them, leave everything and come into our team, and we'll be training them really great. And also we have some difficulties in finding the teachers, and also the government schools till 10th the students can learn, and there also the government is responsible for the teachers to be appointed. But many applications are there, but the government should give the fund or um, support the schools so that they can find the teachers and pay them. So it is really important that we should have a system, and hearing teachers has to come. Like, it is really hard to take them and find them and pay them. And we have teachers, but this is the case, like, the quality and well educated teachers are not there. That is one issue. And the people are suffering. Really, the people are suffering. We cannot force them. We cannot force, like, if they are not interested, we have to leave. And if it is not possible for them to understand, also we cannot force them. You should understand, it's not possible. In India, there are many, many, many like obstacles. Deaf people are ask if they have any doubts or any questions, they have to ask. They have to go and make a solution for that. But it is making them, yeah. When the deaf community want to ask a question to the government, there also the obstructions happening. I used to do, like, one time, 1995. Yeah, I applied. I applied for a government job, teaching job, but they told me no, not possible for me. And how, like, they were asking, you cannot hear, how will you teach? That's what the question I heard from the government. So they told me not to join. Yeah, so many students were there, and deaf teacher cannot apply for that. That's what they told me. Lecturer, that also deaf cannot join. Professor job, teacher, whatever the job the government is giving, deaf cannot join. I hope that it will be solved. I want to see that deaf teachers should join, researchers, and there are many skilled people that train and teach the candidates, and there are skilled people. So it is important that we should show them that the deaf can do as same as the hearing can. But you have to give a chance. If the teachers are not there and the quality teachers are not there, they are all worried. If Yeah, they are all worried.
Thank you, Dr. Shibaji. I actually believe you have made a huge difference. Many deaf schools look up to you. Many of us who work with technology also and research also love to work with you. And I know that you're making a lot of difference in government policies also. So definitely you have made a big difference for the deaf community in India. And however way we can help, we will always be there. Okay, thank you. Let's move to Neha Trivedi ji. Neha ji.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, yeah. Could you please spotlight Neha ji? So Neha ji, you have shown that accessibility works best when it's built into a system from the beginning, not just added later when someone faces a barrier or maybe for some government regulations. And that's many organizations still think of accessibility only as compliance. How do you help leaders see accessibility as part of good design?
Yeah, so personally, I have gone through various phases as a professional myself, right? When you talk to somebody who says, but why should I do this, right? The question always begins amongst the community of people without disability. When you take an inclusion idea to them, saying, but why should I do this? And I think one has learned over the years that this question itself is non-inclusive. Because we first used to believe that it was the good thing to do, which came from the charity mindset, and then we've spent a lot of decades trying to figure this within a universal design, that doing inclusion will benefit everybody, doing accessibility will benefit everybody, and therefore we must do this, right? But the question is, then if it would not benefit everybody, would we not do it? And that's when I want to borrow from what Dr. Shibaji was saying, right? That inclusion is always looked as somebody fitting into a system, and that automatically makes it non-inclusive. Inclusion needs to be looked at. So when we look at accessibility from a design perspective, my question to people is: diversity is the default of nature. Diversity exists. It's not your or my choice. And we are not going to question this choice. And it is fundamentally a rights question, therefore. And till we don't get leaders to see this from the rights perspective, because we've always seen disability rights as disability movements and not leadership ideas. We somehow think rights is a very difficult word to touch, and rights will mean fights and all of that, right? But if we don't shift there, it is impossible to build inclusive systems, because if we don't recognize that every single person can exist there for the sheer rights of existence, then everything under inclusion, everything under inclusive designs always lands up being a top down or a charity idea where I'm doing something for you, I'm doing something to make things better for you, but that is always got an undercurrent of charity, right? I'm just going to borrow from the example or the question that Salman Kaziji was asking, right? That if his student wants to teach, the biggest barrier that is being imagined right now is communication. I want to take that as an example to answer your question that how can we ask leaders to think differently. When I used to work with students with autism with very low speech in higher education, the question was always, how will we speak to this person? How will this person speak to another person? But when we all adopted Alexa as a technology, we all learned to speak to technology in succinct sentences, right? And we didn't question ourselves, how will we speak to technology? But we kept questioning, how will we speak to people? In Salman sir's case, the question that he asked, the solution is actually very simple. If his student wants to become a teacher, why can't that in today's world where we have so much chat-based technology, why can't the entire class shift to a chat-based communication where you have, and I've had teachers with deaf in some of the universities do this, where on the projected screen, the entire class is on a WhatsApp classroom. So nobody is talking. The students are also not talking, the teacher is also not talking, and everyone is only typing and communicating inside a live class on a chat screen, which is commonly shared by people projected onto a wall. So everybody is chatting. And today's world, if you go to a Gen Alpha classroom, people who can speak to each other are also chatting, right? And we are okay with that means of communication. But when it comes to using chat as a medium of communication being used by the deaf in a mainstream classroom, we think that no, this is less communication. So I think when we talk about leadership and design and accessibility, I really get people to question why they think this is extra versus looking at this as just different. And that's just always been my approach in problem solving, and pushing people more to just the diversity rights-based argument rather than an accommodation as a separate, as a support system sort of a situation.
In your opinion, what is everybody's role? The rest, in supporting, helping, and where can persons with disabilities be leaders?
Yeah, so I'm sorry to answer this question a little differently again, but I think the only way this works is when we stop supporting and helping one group of people, and when we can recognize that everybody can support and help each other. So if you have a group of, I think if you start looking at disability as just one other type of diversity, just like gender, caste, religion, region, all of that, right? Then all of us as human beings support each other and are complementary in each other's life, right? Like as family members, we support each other. But it's always supporting each other rather than helping one person over another person. So the example I always give in some of the sessions that I do is, imagine a relative who always comes to your house and wants to offer help. Would you like that relative? We all wouldn't, because it adds a layer of non-reciprocity to help, right? Where one person is always helping and the other person feels burdened by that help. So I think when we talk about inclusion again from the macro perspective, then we want to acknowledge that people with disabilities also look at people without disabilities without biases, and people without disabilities also do the same, right? So then everybody is a human being first with their own talent pool. Everybody has their own aptitude and interest. And then everybody just engages with each other at the level of an individual rather than the disability. So if I can have a friend with disability who can help me in something, and I can help that person in something else, and then it becomes an equal relationship. So then, as long as there are equal relationships, then everybody can support each other.
Okay. A very good perspective on what a truly inclusive organization should look like. So what I'll do now is we'll open it up to the audience. I'll invite questions from the audience. If you can keep your questions short, clear, focused, so that it can be interpreted in sign language also. You can add your question to the chat, or you can raise your hand. And Pushkarji, could you please read out and manage the questions?
So there is a question from Dr. Ranjit. How can a teacher who is hard of hearing effectively teach and communicate with both hearing students and deaf or hard of hearing students in an inclusive classroom? What strategies, accommodations, or technologies can support effective teaching and learning in this scenario?
Any of the panelists are welcome to answer this.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, whatever you have told and your opinions, I accept. Deaf people now, they study PhD in Amrita University, and I have heard that they are beginning the classes soon. So hearing teachers are there, and the deaf community is really eager to join the PhD classes, and they are teaching, the Amrita University is teaching deaf as well as the hearing students, and technology is being used. They know. And the deaf community is joining. That is really important. So how to communicate with them? Maybe there will be an interpreter to support, there will be an interpreter to interpret. Then some subtitles will be there. Now, like whatever the panelists are speaking, I was watching the subtitles, and as well as the interpreter was interpreting. And if something is been missed or some network issue happens, I could access the chats so that I can understand what is going on. So likewise, I was doing. So maybe in the university they can learn. They'll be joining, the deaf community will be joining the PhD, and they'll choose maybe the interpreter or the subtitles for their learning. It is really important that we should have a qualified interpreter and also a deaf teacher. And hearing, yeah, it is okay that the classes are going with a hearing teacher, and it will be better that if we have a qualified interpreter also. It will be better that the translation should be there in subtitles, so that it will be really good for them to learn.
I would like to add something. Monica Punjabi, I would like to add something.
Yes, please.
Should I? Okay. So, heard about reverse inclusion. In many of the developed countries, there are deaf and siblings of deaf and children of deaf studying together in one classroom. This is why, because they also know sign language. For example, I am a Coda, my both the parents are deaf. I know sign language as a mother tongue. I can sit anywhere. I can learn from a deaf also. I can go in school also. So in US, in many of the developed countries, they also follow this, that the deaf teacher teaching, where all the students, deaf and non-deaf, that is hearing students, also study together if they know sign language. If they know sign language. In your case, if general students joining in course, maybe it's school course or college course, deaf professor or deaf teacher can definitely teach. But as Sibaji sir pointed out, to have qualified interpreters who can again be the voice for a deaf professor or deaf teacher. So why not?
Yes, very, very well said. I visited Gallaudet University, where many professors are deaf PhDs, and students, there are
Yes.
students also, but they all have learned ASL most of the time. And as you said today, maybe with the sign language to speech, if we can improve that technology, that perhaps with that, a teacher can teach a whole class. So,
And I just
Definitely.
just in terms of one other technology, like especially this is at the university level, and if there are students who don't know sign language who are part of this deaf teachers class, then you also get these very effective conference mic solutions, which catch more diverse sound from distances and can convert it into text for the deaf teacher to read. So if there are students and class participation is a concern, then students can speak in English and the translation software can still convert it because it'll pick up sound from a distance, unlike instead of each person passing on a mic. So those solutions are also possible, especially in higher education kind of setups.
Yes, you are correct, ma'am. There are many apps also nowadays, from speech to text. We actually never imagined a deaf teacher teaching as a professor or as a higher education teacher or a professor. This is what our perception is. We always think that deaf community or the disabled community needs some accommodations and inclusion. Only they need it. That's our one way look. So it is not that everybody needs adaptation. So, and we all can learn together. Like Sibaji sir, he's my teacher also, and he has been teaching because in his class I was the one who was sitting with deaf students, and he was teaching in through Indian Sign Language only as a deaf teacher, and because I knew sign language, it was easy for me to understand and follow him. But through an interpreter or through some technological help, he can be a professor at any university teaching numbers of hearing people. Why not?
And again, like I try to find these solutions from a bilingual perspective, right? Oftentimes in the disability space, we get stuck in finding solutions because we only think of disability. But like if I, as a Marathi speaker, needs to communicate to a Tamil speaker, and we have to be all in a common room, then the kind of solutions that I will come up with are also the type of solutions that work when there are bilingual people in a room and the second language is sign language. So I think sometimes we also hesitate in finding solutions that have worked in similar bilingual situations outside of disability spaces.
Mr. Salman, you wanted to add something to this?
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. I think just now what ma'am said, actually, we should take the use of this technology. What ma'am was telling me about when I was talking about Sarah, she told me to use that WhatsApp. She gave an example. So it's a best solution. Nowadays, everybody's moving towards technology, and why not everybody's using WhatsApp and all these technologies. So if we just try to use technology in that perspective, so it can really give solutions to many things. The only thing is the mindset actually. We have to change the attitude of the society to, because unless and until that awareness is not there. First of all, if awareness is created in the society, then acceptance will be there, and then we can take the action necessary which is required. So what I feel ki technology is the need of the hour for any solution related to these disabilities. So I totally agree with ma'am what she said, and all the other panelists also have given very nice suggestions. So that's it, sir.
Okay, so the next question is from Dr. S. Padmavati. I am a computer science engineer trying to build a video dictionary for ISL words and generate video for a sentence based on that dictionary. What will be your suggestion for me?
Sir wants to answer. Okay, have you already learned sign language? He's asking the person who is planning to do this. Do you already know sign language and have you learned it? That's the question from Sibaji sir to Padmavati ji. Okay, so whatever the answer could be, yes or no, but it's important to learn sign language first, very first, because deaf people, when you meet deaf people, it cannot be only in words. And it is not about just the dictionary. Dictionary is a different thing. It has just list of words in it. But when you discuss and talk about linguistics to a deaf person or to any other, you need to first learn to do sign language, learn to talk in sign language, because sign language has its own structure. So everything. So be patient with that, and everything. We just study. We just gather degrees, MA, PhD, one after another. So before that, just be a bit patient and talk to deaf community, learn sign language, connect with deaf community, communicate with them. And so with time, you will understand it. You will understand the language of deaf community.
Can I proceed to the next question?
Coimbatore Dictionary, I can just read in chat. Madam has sent that she saw a dictionary. It was like years back, 25 years back dictionary. Now the printed form is not that effective for sign language, because signs are not signs actually. It's a movement. So I said that video form of any such dictionary would be better. And nowadays everybody makes a sign language dictionary in video form only. So that is another thing. It's more convenient actually.
I think, Dr. Padmavati, the sign language dictionary kind of exists if you go to the ISLRTC website. It's standardized though. And
Yes.
what Dr. Shibaji is also saying, it's not just taking the dictionary and connecting the videos or anything, because there's a very distinct sign language grammar. Not only the order of the words, what words, and then the facial expressions, the hand movements, and even the body positioning, your signing space. There's a lot of different things that come in when you want to make something understandable as sign language. We are working on a project, that's why I'm telling you, like there are some 14, 15, sign language and deaf community involved. And Dr. Ulrike is also very much part of this research. So it's not something you can just do on your own. You need deaf leadership to be part of it at the minimum.
And
Okay.
also ISLRTC, as they have developed, ISLRTC has developed the sign language dictionary and around 10,000 words. So that was done through intensive workshops. They had deaf people and interpreters coming in from different regions from all over India for a 3-day or 4-day workshop in Delhi. And the signs were already made by their deaf teachers and interpreters together of new words, new technical, new agriculture word, new scientific words, new legal words, those words which were never existing in sign language. So, but they made it and they had it for review and feedback, and they explained the meaning of those words to deaf people first, and together, unitedly, some signs rejected, some signs were accepted, and new signs were developed. So, intensive workshop was done, ma'am.
Correct. I think you have put a comment, is it, that the absence of.
No, I have a question for the panelists here, because one of the things that we've been facing in higher education is when deaf students have entered STEM courses, even when the college wants to hire a sign language interpreter, we've not managed to find people who know technical, like vocabulary gap in technical higher education subjects, especially for computer science and engineering, are very limited. And then when we've got interpreters, the professor has found at the end of 2 weeks that the interpreter was actually interpreting something completely inaccurate. So even despite having the interpreter in class, the student was not able to learn. So anybody here who knows technical subject interpreters, and if there's a pool where one can access this, then please, I would love to know.
Yes, you will need to have the list of, or maybe meet those interpreters who are educational background is from technical education. Only they can do it, because our diploma programs, like for example, DISLI of 2 years, it does any subject than sign language. So their own subject and college background will help them interpret rightly in technical field. So you need to have their college background also, because diploma doesn't, we don't have the specific specifications in India yet. We do have in developed countries other than India.
Also, Nehaji, we are working with ISLRTC, and they have basically said if we have vocabulary that does not have a sign, we can, if we find a regional sign, we can send it to them, or if we can't find any sign also, we can send it to them, and they will go through a process to create, find, or standardize that vocabulary for us. So they're very open to it, actually. Very supportive also.
So there's a final question from Dr. Sinu. He's saying, recently we made a neuro-affirming AI chatbot for autism children and also a hand-eye brain coordinating game-based gadget. I request you experts to suggest some research topic or pain point which we could immediately address and work on for immersive learning and assistive devices.
I don't have any idea Sibaji sir is saying regarding autism. So any of you wanted to reply?
I mean, this may not be directly with autism, but I mean, generally over the years, as assistive technology in India has advanced, one of the bigger problems right now, instead of making new technology, is actually taking the technology to the children, or taking the technology to the end user, or creating awareness and training modules around. Because I think the amount of technology we have on the field is quite a bit, both locally and generally available now in open source. So maybe what I would recommend to Dr. Sinu and her team is what they've already created, first take that to find pipelines to actually convert that into meaningful on-ground usage, then create more. Because we've also seen a lot of technologies start falling apart and companies stop in like closing down because they couldn't find a sustainable way of taking it to end users, or of even value to the end user. So I think deployment is a bigger challenge than creating new at this point in time. Like even with the deaf community, right? Like the closed captioning, the live transcription, the accuracy of technologies need to improve rather than creating more technology.
Yes. Okay. Pushkar, we're done, right? With the questions?
Yes, ma'am, no more questions.
Okay.
I had a question there. Where can they learn sign language from? Dr. Padmavati had asked. So there are few organizations that offer online sign language classes. One is IDBA, Indore Deaf Bilingual Academy. ISL-RTC, I think, also does. ISH does. So they can, ISH also does it. So you can just check and join those online courses. That would be basic online course for a month or 2 months only. If you want to learn sign language properly, it is good to opt for diploma in Indian Sign Language Interpretation. That is for 2 years. RCI offers that course for 2 years. That can also be taken up.
Thank you, Monica ji.
Ma'am, sorry, there's one final question from Dr. Padmavati, that the refreshable braille display, is it only for text or is it available for visual diagrams also?
There's a different device available for a refreshable diagram, which is also built by Orbit. That's like more of a slate which has refreshable diagrams. But that is effective only for line diagrams. If you have more complex diagrams, it gets confused. The right way to actually learn diagrams for a visually impaired is actually physical tactile diagrams, which today are readily available, can be made readily. There are standard guidelines by Diagram Center, which you can search about how to make these tactile diagrams. They can be made either by simple local art material, or there is a company called RLF, Raised Line Foundation, based in Delhi, that makes diagrams for curriculum. So if you have standardized curriculum available, you can send them all the diagrams and they'll send you thermoform tactile diagrams. So studying visual, I mean, and then there is another software called Desmos, which is not a tactile version of a diagram, but a blind person can actually use Desmos for STEM, economics graphs, other kinds of graphs, where you can feed in data and the software will generate the diagram and will give you an audio output of the diagram along with a textual description. And you can also feed in diagrams and it will give you the same audio and a textual description. So yes, studying of diagrams totally possible. As I mentioned earlier, we've had students with total blindness studying chemistry, biology in higher education, and it's totally and completely doable. It is just a matter of the people locally knowing how to.
Okay, then, thank you to all our panelists. Monica ji, you showed us why language matters and how to do the ISL in a very inclusive manner, including higher education, including schools. Salman ji showed us what it takes to make participation possible even in mainstream environments, classrooms. Sara is showing us students' own voices, how they can shape inclusion, and we really hope she becomes the professor she wants to be. Dr. Shivaji Panda has always shown us the power of deaf leadership. And Neha ji, thank you for showing us why accessibility must become part of how institutions are designed. So here we are inspired by the Amma's vision of service, and I really hope this conversation leads to stronger partnerships, more decisive actions, and we can follow up and work together on technology, on inclusion, on finding the best solutions wherever they are, and providing them. And so once again, thank you. Thank you also to all those who are present here. I'll just give it back to Pushkar to close. Pushkar.
So before we conclude today's session, we would love to capture a group photo with all of you. May I kindly request everyone attending the webinar to please turn on your cameras for a moment. We'll take a quick snapshot. Thank you, everyone, for your participation, for your support. And thank you to all the distinguished panelists. Thank you to Sara also for your insights. And we thank our audience for their thoughtful and insightful participation. We hope this session has offered some inspiration and, more importantly, a clearer sense of what inclusive education looks like in daily practice. Everyone have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you very much. Om Amriteshwari Namah.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a
Thank you,
pleasure
interpreters
attending this
also. Thank you.
webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.